Now, my course teacher, he knows that I like to continue my assignments from where I have left off. However, with all of this information that I've just come to light, I have gotten my course teacher's permission to release this information first because it does affect me a lot. Starting from childhood all the way up until now, the same one person has affected me, and he's the same one person that continues to affect me. So if you all remember, this past, a couple days ago, Thursday, Friday, a black police officer was assaulted and stabbed right in the skull of his head, or over here. Either way, he was stabbed, bleeding at the hospital, and refusing to get treatment. Who sits with a gash that big, refusing to get treatment with a weapon that size? Number one, wearing a police uniform. Number two. The next thing is, this so-called police officer, the brother to that of Claudette Yvonne Cameron Stewart, set up my assault, my sexual assault, as a child with Esmeralda Rogers, i.e. Selena Quintilla, which is the reason why he had her kicked out in 1993. I was sexually assaulted in August of 1993 by Punna. I was an 8-year-old child. I was an 8-year-old child, about to turn 9, when I was sexually assaulted, set up by this police officer, Esmeralda Rogers, and Punna. Esmeralda Rogers also planned, and it did happen, that I was locked up as an 8-year-old child, a 7 to 8-year-old child, not allowed to go outside because she felt deserted right from Hill Family Shelter, which was once known as Women's Center in Toronto. She couldn't go anywhere. They told her she couldn't purchase anything. And as a 7, 8-year-old child, I was locked up for an entire year, not able to go outside. But I broke out of that as a child too. My sexual assault by Punna let me out. Sexual assault by the police officer as well as Esmeralda Rogers. That's where it started. Actually, as a matter of fact, not even child kidnapping, removing me from Jamaica to South Africa because Jamaica was too easy for me to get around, apparently. So he planned, but he couldn't find anyone to keep me in South Africa. So I ended up staying in Jamaica, the same police officer that got stabbed. Now, going from 1993 to 2015, October 10th, 2015 to be exact, at 11 a.m. I had gotten my taxes and my rental payment for water, because you do get that. And I usually used to get it on the 10th of every single month. His excuse, he waited too long for his uniform, which was specially sewn for him, as well as all officers, as all officers' uniforms are specially sewn so that it is not stolen, because it has happened before. And so far, since I've been in Canada, not one uniform has been stolen by a police officer. Not one uniform has ever been stolen, except for those that work security in the mall. That's it. And that's about to stop too. Anywho, 2015, October 10th, 11 a.m. I got $210 in my account. I took the taxi to Shoppers World Brenton. I bought one item, $70, a Hue bowl with blue and purple. A Hue center bowl for a coffee table, $70. No, that was not it. It was actually a glass top. A glass top with a mirror. I bought that. The Hue bowl I had bought the year before. I had actually bought the Hue bowl in 2013. That's 2013 I bought the Hue bowl. In 2015 I bought a glass tray. A glass tray that had a mirror in it for $70 at Winners. I had been at Winners several times before, watching that tray, sitting there, walking around that tray, not purchasing that tray until the 10th of October. And it was the only thing that I purchased that day, to my memory. The only thing. I went back home. I knew I was told in my earpiece to take out the rest of the money from my account. I did not follow through. I paid the taxi, and then 10 minutes later, earpiece, go to Subway. Your sister Lauren Stewart is through the Peach Stores, and we want to use you to teach her how to do Kabbalah. Either way, I was hungry. I was hungry. And I had also purchased Subway for my kids that day. I had also purchased Subway. So I went, only to have my card declined. I immediately called the bank because I knew there was $110 left in my account, only to end up speaking to Claudette Yvonne Cameron Stewart. And let me tell you, I am not asking whether or not she was laughing at me. I can tell you that she was laughing at me. Because at the end of the call, I recognized her voice immediately as my intake mother. And I'm reporting her to the police for fraudulently working at CIBC as well. Turns out that her brother, who had just gotten his uniform to work in the financial department because he had failed his physical to be a police officer, had gotten a hold of my account and had moved the $110, all of it, completely, to another account of which he thought was his. He thought the account was his. I don't know how to say thank you to Jack Dorsey for attaching his account to mine at CIBC. I don't know how to say thank you. Because 20 minutes later, after telling her that I would call because I know your voice, I would call the Bank of Canada and have you charged as Claudette Yvonne Cameron Stewart for financially not returning my $110. 20 minutes later, it was returned. I went back out again after walking back into the home, took out the $110 from Royal Bank Canada, and continued on with my purchase of my Subway sandwich. He stopped after he was caught financially defrauding me, only to find him trying to do it again in 2018 because apparently I didn't have to pay any more rent money because the house was fully mortgaged off. Turns out that Claudia Yvonne Cameron had placed his name on the mortgage and he was already planning on kicking me out. So, with his uniform, he signed the eviction notice without a judge's permission as the United Nations. And on August 21st, 2019, I was removed fraudulently by the police officer. That's how I can tell you that I knew it was a fraud. Who the hell signs their bullshit United Nations? At least the thing about it is, when it was signed United Nations, I knew that I would get a place to live immediately. I knew that. I knew I had to wait a few months in order to get a place. And I knew that it was either going to be in Niagara Falls or Toronto. So I started looking in Toronto because he was already trying to kick me out of Peel Family Shelter because I kept pulling my children out whenever he said the kids were going to be kidnapped. Instead of leaving them in the school, I went to the school and removed my children like a responsible parent would. Don't tell me my child is going to get kidnapped and not expect me to not take care of it. I will walk half hour to Milliken to go and get my son. You report my child being kidnapped, I will walk the half hour to Milliken to get my child. To make sure that he is in class, I will make that half hour trip, which will then turn into an hour. I will do that. Who is Lauren Stewart to tell me that I'm lazy and that I would never ever make that walk because all I do is take the taxi to Shoppers World and back, and that the uncle as the police officer would bring this? Who are you? We may have lived together from you were in her womb. However, as I told you, from about Friday night, I will turn on you in a hot second if you don't start telling the truth, because you will never ever get the chance to be me, because I'm a cold ass bitch, Lauren Stewart. I'm a cold ass bitch.